Kia revealed its EV3, a compact, all-electric SUV, about a month ago, but this vehicle is making its global in-person debut right here at the Busan International Mobility Show in South Korea. And here it is, the Kia EV3 is making its global debut here at the Busan International Motor Show in South Korea. This is a compact, all-electric SUV, and I'll tell you, it looks pretty sharp. Brings a lot of design down to a smaller vehicle from the larger EV9 SUV, and that is not a bad thing. Up front, you can see we have vertical DRLs that are pushed out to the far corners of this car's face. Again, a family resemblance to the much larger and three-row EV9, which, if I pan to the left, is right over there in a beautiful shade of blue. Up front, we have the tiger face design theme, fits in with the rest of the broader Kia lineup. And of course, they have also included the star map lighting signature. It's impossible to see right now under this harsh auto show lighting, but segments of the front fascia should be illuminated. A very distinctive look. Again, another feature borrowed from that EV9. Overall, this car is blocky and angular, also futuristic and elegant, all at the same time. Seeing it here in person, not just photos, it's surprisingly handsome. I really do enjoy the design of this car. Glancing at the specs, this is another e-gmp-based vehicle, a fantastic electric architecture that, of course, we see with the Kia EV6, the Hyundai Ioniq 5 and 6, and the Genesis GV60. These are all, frankly, probably segment-leading vehicles, and I expect similar excellence here with the new Kia EV3. Anyway, as for specs, overall length is about 169 inches. The wheelbase is just shy of 106 inches, and that makes this vehicle just about roughly the same size as a Volvo EX30, Volvo's new compact SUV, of course. So these two might compete with one another. Volvo is, of course, a premium brand. Kia is more mass market, but I could definitely see these two models competing with each other. As for technology, you get a 4th generation battery pack in this vehicle. 2 versions will be offered. The standard variant clocks in at 58.3 kilowatt hours, though you can get a long-range model with a significantly larger battery. That one is 81.4 kilowatt hours, and Kia is claiming around 600 kilometers of range in this vehicle. And that, of course, is on the generous WLTP testing cycle. So once the US EPA does its thing and evaluates the EV3 here, expect that number to be significantly lower. I'm going to say somewhere in the neighborhood of 300 for the long-range pack, and that's probably a pretty good estimate. As for performance, you get a single electric motor in this vehicle and, of course, front-wheel drive. That gets you up to 201 horsepower and 209 pound-feet of torque. Not overly impressive numbers. I'm kind of surprised all-wheel drive isn't available, at least from the onset, but it's still enough to get you from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour, of course 62 miles per hour, in around 7.5 seconds, so should be entirely competent performance for a small SUV. Inside, the cabin of this vehicle was supposedly inspired by nature. And I don't know that I necessarily see that, but it is very clean and handsome. Of course, again, it fits in nicely with the broader Kia lineup, and a lot of good materials are being used in here. If I slide behind the wheel, it's handsome, it's well built. Let me zoom out a little bit, there we go. Handsome, well built, a lot of sustainable materials in this vehicle as well that are also recyclable, which is a very good thing. In front of the driver is a 12.3-inch digital instrument cluster, pretty standard in the market these days. You also get a 12.3-inch touchscreen over here on the center of the dashboard. Again, very common. But then we've got this. It's sort of a 5-inch touch panel for the climate control system. We've seen this on the larger EV9. I don't particularly care for it. It's a little bit confusing. I would much rather have either physical controls or just a larger climate control menu that pops up on the central 12.3-inch display. But regardless, this interior is seriously impressive. You can also have it optionally with a Harman Kardon sound system and even a 12-inch head-up display, which this particular example does appear to be fitted with. You can see sort of a cutout in the top of the dashboard there. Let's take a very quick look at the back seat here. If I open the door with this vertical handle, it pops very easily, just like that. As the front driver's seat was in its current position, it fit me quite well, and I can slide behind the back seat here, which is surprisingly elevated, and I have a good amount of legroom behind the backrest here. A little bit more space might be nice, but this certainly works well for what it is, because again, this is a compact SUV. You can't expect huge amounts of space in a vehicle that is no larger really than a Volvo EX30. Anyway, that's a very quick look at the new Kia EV3, which of course is making its global debut here at the Busan International Motor Show. This car is slated to go on sale in Korea this July, so next month, though it will launch in Europe a little bit later. They're anticipating the second half of the year for this to go on sale in the old world. Other markets will follow that, but they have not made any comments about the availability of the EV3 in the United States. I would assume they're going to sell this thing here. I mean, come on, why wouldn't they? But for now, Kia really isn't saying, or at least they haven't told me. Genesis just refreshed the Electrified G80 luxury sedan, and the brand unveiled it here at the Busan International Mobility Show in South Korea. And here it is, the new updated electrified Genesis G80 sedan. Now, the automaker has made a range of significant improvements to this executive car. This is not just a tweak of the exterior design, if you will. The biggest change they've made to this vehicle, though, is they've increased the wheelbase by 130 millimeters. That's roughly 5 inches, and they've done that to improve passenger space in the back seat. This car will now also be offered with reclining rear seats, which is sort of tailor-made for the Korean market, where people are chauffeur-driven much more than they are in the US, though we do not know if that feature will be made available to American drivers, so stay tuned for updates. And the idea here is to give this car sort of some of the features that you would get in the larger and the fancier G90 in a little bit more manageable and affordable package here. Now, beyond that, you also get rear wheel steering, which will work very well with that increased vehicle length to help improve maneuverability. This is a sizable sedan, and parking it in a tight urban area like Busan or Seoul is going to be challenging. Now, beyond that, they've also improved the battery technology. It's somewhere underneath the car, between those wheels, but they've increased the pack capacity to 94.5 kilowatt hours. Range wasn't necessarily an issue with this car before, but a larger battery pack is always a good thing to have. Now, we don't know how fast this car will charge. Genesis did not release any information about that just yet, but if it's like other Hyundai, Kia, and Genesis vehicles, particularly the e-gmp-based models, it's going to charge very quickly. So a lot going on there, and will probably be a fast-charging vehicle. As for range, they're estimating 475 kilometers. I'm certain that is not US EPA testing, so as always, your mileage will vary, and in this case, probably significantly, but 475 kilometers of range, they claim, is enough to get you from down here in Busan all the way up to the nation's capital in Seoul, which is at the opposite end of the country. So a very good amount of range for this large executive sedan. You can make that drive without having to stop to charge, which is a good thing. Let's get a little bit of a closer look here. You can see the two-line motif is alive and well, a great styling theme that I do like very much on Genesis vehicles. Additionally, very clean lines as I walk around back toward the front. I'm going to zoom in here just a second so you can get a closer look at those wheels, which sort of have a Mercedes-Benz monoblock appearance. I think they look absolutely fantastic. Very nice, if you can get a look at them. But there they are, sleek and smooth, and undoubtedly fairly aerodynamic. Back up front, same general look as before. Not a bad thing at all. This is an extremely handsome sedan and some welcome upgrades for the latest model year. Now, as for availability, this car is set to go on sale in Korea this August, so just a couple months away. It will be available in the United States as well. It should go on sale next year as a 2026 model. If you want an electrified G80 right now, you can buy one at your local Genesis dealership. But before you do that, make sure you check out my full review of the car by clicking the link right over here.